Welcome to the show. Tales of the Empire, baby. We're talking Acolyte as well. You're getting us 10 seconds early according to the schedule, so I hope you don't waste all this extra time with us. We're very happy to be here. We're excited that you've chosen to spend this time with us, whether it's now or in the future. I'm Eddie Roman. You got Andy Mason, Taylor B, Michael B. I will never understand mirror cameras. I stay pointing the wrong direction. You know how this is. We are live and alive this Friday evening. Welcome to the show. So excited to have you all with us. This was a lot of fun. I know the internet has, this is gonna be an interesting episode because the internet has opinions about everything we're talking about tonight. We're talking the Acolyte trailer that just came out, and then we're also talking about the clip that was at the end of Phantom Menace. If anyone did see that, we can also spend some time talking about Phantom Menace, the theatrical experience. I want to throw Andy a bone there so she can get to wax poetic about her favorite Star Wars movie. And then we'll spend the lion's share of this evening talking about Tales of the Empire. We got 6 shorts that came out, much in the same vein as Tales of the Jedi previous. I'm very excited to see what everybody thought because, there were a lot of different things going on, and I think a lot of different sections of the fan base got fed. And so I was just curious as to how everybody felt. Speaking of, one of the sections of the fan base that I felt got really fed was the Legends community here, and our resident champion of that side of the fandom is back. We've missed you. It's been a month or so. Welcome back,
Hi,
Taylor.
guys. Yay! It's good to be back.
Oh yeah, we're all glad to have you. So let's dive in. Let's go short to long here. We'll spend the majority of the time talking about Tales of the Empire. So let's start with the Phantom Menace. Did anyone get out to the theater and see that? Show of hands. All right. So Andy, you can start. I got to see it as well, but I'd be curious as to what you thought, Andy.
I loved it. I got to have a little date night with the hubby. We went solo, and I had a little marg, and it was super awesome. For some reason, maybe it's my theater, maybe it's just because it's an older movie. The quality was so bad on the screen, it was so blurry.
It's half and half. Oh, that's the theater. Yeah, 100%.
I knew it had to be.
Yeah.
Because even older movies can look really crisp and good. Mm-hmm. So
where did you see it? I know broadly where you live, so I'm not asking geographically what theater did you go to, but what type of theater was it that you went to? Do you recall what chain?
AMC.
Okay. Yeah, so a lot of times AMC, they have different tiers, and I'm a loyal AMCer myself, and Dolby is amazing. IMAX is pretty solid. Depends on what you're doing and what you're seeing, but this one they just stuck it in theater 8, and like you, I had a similar experience. It wasn't blurry for me, thankfully, but it did look like we borrowed Michael's projector and we were just watching the HDMI through the laptop in a lot of ways. It was that's what it was giving. But hey, I'd never seen it in the theater before, so that was kind of neat. It was kind of fun. I was disappointed the sound wasn't you get used to Dolby and you get used to it being just loud as hell, and this one was a little underwhelming, but maybe it's because I've seen the movie 80 times too. Is that, I don't know. Maybe it's different on the 81st time.
And for me, it's probably the Star Wars movie that I have seen the most times also. And it doesn't have a nostalgic element for me. It for me just kind of has this is when I got really excited about Star Wars, was when I was watching this and these characters actually I had stock in them and they had a place in my heart. So it was fun to watch again. I did watch it probably last year, so it's not a lot of time passed or anything like that, but it was fun. It was fun. I love Jar Jar.
The margarita help with that, or?
I guess a little bit. Nothing crazy.
It's funny because I was wondering how Jar Jar would hit, watching it again. Jar Jar hit largely the same. I still, again, doesn't resonate with me, not for me. All the stances of we can't be bullying actors, okay? That's inexcusable, but it doesn't, I don't like I didn't. That's not my character. I didn't really enjoy it. But Jake Lloyd, I think the world owes him a whole host of apologies. But even just
Yeah.
on the merits, like as a child actor, the kid crushed it. Like there's
Mhm.
just he's not a bad actor at all in that movie.
No. And
Like go
I
ahead.
watched behind the scenes where George Lucas talked about, all the different Anakins that came in and how Jake Lloyd
Hmm.
just had it. He had it for him for Anakin. So, yeah, super disappointing to learn later because I didn't know till recently what happened. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's despicable. And it still
The fan
happens.
base is capable of great evil. There's no doubt about
Yeah.
that. Um, yeah, I think it was all in all, it was a fairly good experience, and I definitely
Hmm.
enjoyed it. Um, Michael, I'm curious, have you ever played the Lego Star Wars games? I know I'm immensely late to this
Oh,
party, but
oh, so many. Yeah.
okay. Did
I
you
think
play the
I
most recent one, the Skywalker Saga?
that's the only one I haven't played, the weird sort of
I
third
have.
person one. I think everybody else has.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just got it for the Steam Deck and have been chopping through it. And it is the most Michael coded thing I've ever seen. Like I'm
They're
playing
really
through it.
good.
They're like
I love them.
snarky as hell. And I'm thinking of our last episode where like they clearly love the story material. They love the content. Everybody's all in. But just like the tongue in cheek, like it was very much Michael coded, and I was like, man, I gotta see. I'm
You mean
sure you
besides the
had
fact that
played it,
it's
but
Star Wars and Legos?
yeah, right. Obviously, like you're the target market for sure, but just is so like such a defined sense of like it was hilarious. It was really really funny. So I wanted to shout you out in that respect. Okay, so moving on. At the end of Phantom Menace, we had an extended preview of the Acolyte, and then it played the most recent trailer as well. So I'm taking the assumption that everyone on this panel today has seen the most recent trailer for the Acolyte. Okay, so
Hmm.
we can all discuss that, and I don't want it to just be the Andy and Ed show, so I'll definitely bring you guys in on that. But for those who don't care about spoilers, there's a clip that's shown that is it's basically this Jedi Master doing a little bit of an investigation. We learn that she's drinking at a bar, and this huntress is trying to find the Jedi, and they a fight ensues, right? And so that without getting too deep into the weeds, Andy, what did you think seeing like our first sort of extended look at what we're gonna get for the Acolyte?
I was super impressed, and I hadn't seen any Acolyte content yet. It was like my first look, and it just seemed super rich for me. I loved the way that the Jedi fought with her like subtle, quick movements, not pulling out her saber till the very end. And me and Michael had some moments where we looked at each other like side-eyed, like, wow, okay, this actually looks really interesting and really promising.
Mm.
So it got me super excited for it. And I was shocked to hear that not everyone felt the same way.
Well, there's always that. There's always a bigger fish. But yeah, I wasn't floored and amazed by it because just the hand to hand combat is never my 100% comfort food. In Star Wars, I'm more of a dialogue guy and all that sort of stuff. The dog is down here, so if something jumps on my lap, that's what it is. But you get bonus puppy, so enjoy that. But yeah, it was solid. The choreography was great. I really enjoyed just the grittiness to it. The realism
Mhm.
looked pretty neat. I think there's a lot of potential there, but it's hard to say. I mean, based off of a trailer and a clip, what we're in for here. But I certainly haven't seen anything that is flaring my alarm bells of this is going to absolutely suck, right? So a lot of people have, but I think that's because they didn't see enough white guys, and so that it will make anyone dubious for sure.
Mm.
um Dripping in sarcasm. Look, this show could suck. I've said that from the beginning. I'm not trying to say I'm a stand for this show that I haven't seen yet, but man, some of the critiques are just wild. um Bringing everybody in now on the trailer itself. And Taylor, since I haven't invoked you in this conversation at all yet. Oh, what was that?
Hey.
Hey.
That's what the disembodied voice of Lawrence looks like. It's the voice behind the or the face behind the voice. So okay, so Taylor, I'm gonna bring you in here. What are your first thoughts of this trailer, and what would you put your excitement level at on a scale of 1 to 10 for this show? Given that it's Disney, given that, you know, the track record of live action, which we all have mixed feelings with. So again, I talk shit
Sell
about
it
the
some more,
toxic
Ed.
side.
Sell it some more.
I talked a lot of crap about the toxic side of the fandom, but I just want to reiterate, not liking something is totally valid. That's not I'm not some shill over here, okay? We discussed that before while Taylor was on sabbatical. All of that to
I don't know
say,
that we agree
what did you
on
think?
that point, to be
Hey.
So I think I'd say I'm about a 7 out of 10. So I'm not as familiar, obviously, with the canon interpretation of the time before Phantom Menace. So I'm curious to see basically what kind of the story is that they're going to set out. If there are any Easter eggs and things to the High Republic, like those are going to go completely over my head. But that being said, I've found something to love in almost every show that Disney has put out. There's been plenty I've been able to complain about, but I don't know, Book of Boba Fett might be pushing it. But other than that, I found something that I like in almost every Disney show. So
Black
I'm
Chrysanthemum was
excited.
cool. Hey, Book of Boba Fett got us an extended look at Tim Oliphant in Star Wars, so it'll always be near to my heart for that.
True.
But yeah, for the rest of it, yeah. Okie dokie. So Michael, kick it over to you. Same question. Scale of 1 to 10, general vibes. Where are you at with this one? And let's weigh in.
maybe like a 6. I would say like I'm not super excited, but I'm not like ready to hate it. Like some stuff has come out, and like Visions, for example, I'm like, I'll probably watch it, but I'm just like 0 or very low on the scale of excitement. This one's more because I am invested in the High Republic story arcs, and I know this is at the very end. This is barely touching a lot of the content, but there's a lot of room for references and building on and deepening that canon that we already have. We already know that Vernestra Rowe is going to be in there as one of the characters who is alive from those book series. Obviously, we could see Yoda, although I think they've already confirmed that she's the only character from the High Republic that will appear. But that doesn't mean there's anything else. There's plenty of worlds and world building that can go on, the frontier zones and all sorts of really cool stuff. References to Starlight Beacon. There's a lot of really cool stuff that could happen, but that enough is not to, that won't keep me interested, right? It's like Andor. Andor didn't have to have all these references. They showed a few things. We knew some references, but they really didn't put it in your face. It was just a good show. So I mean, this still has the potential to be one of the best out there. We just don't know a lot.
I don't know why. There's something about it that's giving Andor. I think it's, and I'm trying to quantify why, but I think it's only because they are not using the volume and are using live action, like real sets. That's the only connection that I can, and maybe I'm just clinging on to that because it's divergent from the Filoniverse, and I'm like, maybe it'll be just as good as Andor, but there's no reason to think that because clearly it's a whole different staff that's working on it.
Well, even the Filoniverse
has
not been consistent, right? Like Mando season 1 is not Mando season 3. And even though we had plenty of things to say about Mando season 1, it's Mando season 3 it's all still the volume. It's still the same people involved. So this isn't Disney's fault. This is just, at this point, we have no reason to believe from the people involved or anything that this is just going to be incredible because there's no real track record to build off of. If anything, we have low expectations, but that doesn't mean anything.
I guess what I'm saying is more the reason why I'm optimistic is because this could either flame or flop because it is divergent from that. Like, I think we expect mid if it's going to be in the cut of Filoniverse. And of course, we're open to be pleasantly surprised, but like Andor was amazing And I feel like this could be amazing, or it could not be amazing, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Or it'll be a whole different type of mid. Okay, so as relates to the High Republic stuff, I think you're exactly right. I hope they strike the balance of Easter eggs for those who want it, but it's not the whole meal, right? Can't live on eggs alone, right? So that's the helmet. Yeah, well, I was gonna bring that up. Perfect. You nailed it, man. I don't know if I can pull it up on screen. Actually, here, drop it in the chat, and then I'll just adjust the window and adjust it back. Someone find a picture of it while we're talking here. Michael pointed out at the end of the trailer, there's a Sith figure, vaguely Kylo Ren looking boy or girl, who knows, or something else entirely. Either way, this character is there, and we get to see a little bit more of their helmet, and obviously we're all very curious as to what's going on there. Michael pointed out that it looks like it has a lot of commonality with the description of a character from a book that some of us have read, the Shroud of the Sith, the Shadow of the Sith. Is that what it is, Michael?
Sith, I think. Yeah. Shadows of the Sith. Yeah. So it looks like it's hard to tell because there's a lot of Sith helmets in Star Wars. In fact, there's one in I just was reading or listening to Dooku Jedi Lost. There's one in the Bogan collection not too long before episode 1. Yeah. But the description is pretty close. It would be impressive to me that they would base basically an entire series off of sort of a side plot or an extra point but like a rather overt one like this. Because
they talk about rivets going up the side,
it has
right?
And
that's what.
Yeah, it says it's smooth. I could paste back in here the description that I copied from Wikipedia, but it's smooth metal. It's got glassy eyes, or small glassy eyes, and then it's doesn't have a mouth, but it has this line of rivets. So I don't know, because from one of the other pictures, kind of looks like it does have a mouth. So maybe not.
Yeah, we could be blowing hot air wrong, here, but
it's
the point of this mask. The thing about this mask and why it ties in is that the thing about the mask and what ties it in is that the acolytes of the Beyond were the ones who had it in the post Return of the Jedi era, in the Aftermath books, and then in the Shadow of the Sith. So there's a tie in there just with the word acolyte, of course. And then the mask itself, basically, it possesses the wearer, and it makes them do all kinds of horrible things, and this, that,
Viceroy XM Panchard. Yeah, some ancient Sith from a long forgotten planet that nobody knows about and is not, has been since destroyed, but he killed like his entire population and like absorbed the souls of those people, but he could sort of live on in the mask. And when the mask went on, and he was trying to get to Exegol, right? And so like the reason why I think this is interesting is it all ties into it's that book is like a non-movie related attempt to really, really connect all of the sequel trilogies to the rest of canon. Yeah. It talks about Rey's parents. It talks about how Lando got on that one planet in the Rise of Skywalker. It introduces Exegol and Luke and the dagger and what's his name, of Bastoon. Ochi. Like, it has all this stuff. It puts all of that in there, but it also has this mask and the Acolytes of the Beyond, which would be kind of an on the nose way of being like the series is called The Acolyte. So I don't know. It seems a little wild for them to so completely just latch onto this one book, but
it seems crazy.
It's hard.
Cobb Vanth is in The Mandalorian, so yeah. I would have never said it until Cobb Vanth's ass was in The Mandalorian. Now it changes everything. You know what I mean? Like, that opens up all of it. So who knows? I will say this mask from the front is one of the more creepy things I've ever seen in Star Wars. It's definitely giving like that horror movie smile. Terrifying stuff. I don't know if this is as scary as that, but
I don't know if it was mentioned in the Discord. I know I saw it on Instagram. I saw some people referencing like the original Knights of Ren when they saw that mask.
I mean, it's really old. He almost has like the cracks going on, like Kylo Ren has in
Mhm.
Skywalker 2. It almost looks like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to
It
see
could be any of
how
that.
they pay that off.
I don't remember
Andy.
how.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Michael. No, you go ahead. Finish up.
In the book where this mask is introduced, I don't remember how it appears. Was it the random Sith from Exegol that just handed it to this one gal from the Acolytes of the Beyond, or what? But what's interesting is we don't know. We
Tashu,
don't know the
right?
history of it.
I thought Tashu gave it. Maybe I'm mistaken. It's been
Well,
a
there's
while.
also the weapon,
okay?
right? There's also a sword or like a lightsaber involved as well.
I can't
And I think
remember.
they had his
That book
lightsaber.
was
Anyway, but the point is, we know that this is an ancient thing. We don't know where it was before. So through this story, this could be something where the Jedi have it. It's in their collection, and then when Palpatine takes over, it gets out again. Now it's back in Sith hands, and then after the fall of the Empire, who knows where all that stuff goes.
Yeah,
So
like maybe they put
there's
it in
really
the.
nothing canon limiting where this was at any point in the past.
And it could just be,
a different Sith
Darthiness,
helmet.
and we'll go somewhere else, But who knows? Andy, I wanna loop you in. Same list of questions. General reaction. What do you think? General reaction. We'll scale it 1 to 10. How you feeling about it?
I think I'm pretty on board with Taylor and Michael. I mean, I'm excited, but I'm not like I don't know. I'm just excited to see where it goes. I think, yeah.
Does this
I don't know.
require? Does this show require hotel room initial reactions like Ahsoka did, or are we going to treat it like some of these other ones where we just hit it up on Friday? That's going to be the test. That's how you'll know
Yeah.
if I'm really into it. If I'm whipping out the the ring light and doing my influencer TikTok grind in a home 2 suites in Iowa, then
Yeah.
I'm digging the show. But yeah. Hey, Lauren, how do you haven't seen any of this stuff, but you have seen the trailer. You saw it when we went to go see the movie together. How do you feel about this trailer at the end of Phantom Menace? What are your general thoughts, given that you don't know anything about the High Republic or any of this? As the uninitiated viewer, what are your thoughts?
Well, putting aside my personal vendettas against the actors.
Okay, what? You just move on from that.
Doesn't like
what?
No, I don't like Amanda Stenberg, and he knows this about me.
What'd she do? What'd she do to you?
It's vibes based. He knows vibes based. She just, the girls.
Lauren's just like, I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you...
The girls that get it, and the girls that don't.
Bow, bow, bow. Lock them up.
I thought the fighting choreography was really cool and interesting.
Can everyone hear Lauren well?
Yeah.
I can't see that. Okay, I can't hear her, but
yeah, the fighting choreography was really good. I think that at least the trailer that they played after the movie was really good at making you want to know who these characters are. Like, it left you wanting more because it didn't give you like the full scene of what was going on. So I mean, I feel like as someone who's not, super into Star Wars, at least like the marketing was really good for
Yay!
Yeah, man, I'm excited too. Sorry, I'm just goofing off because I moved the camera over to see like the corner of your face while you were talking.
Oh,
I just did a
I'm
little.
not supposed to be on camera.
Why not?
So good.
You look so great. We'll set you up next time. Sorry, I was pulled a little sneaky on you. Yeah, man, I'm generally pretty excited, and I'm excited to have something new to watch with you that we can decide whether or not we love or hate it together. Because there's nothing fun about binge watching 9 movies and 4 TV shows to try to impress a boy you're dating. So it'd be good to have it drip fed instead of immersion therapy. Okay, so that put a nice little bow on the Acolyte discussion for now. We're very excited about it. We'll see what happens. Moving on now into Tales of the Empire. That's what's on the thumbnail. That's what we're all here to discuss. There were 6 shorts that came out, 3 following Morgan Elsbeth, and then 3 following Barriss Offee. Kind of went in an interesting way. It showed 2 characters and their diverging paths. Both were frustrated with the powers that be in the Clone Wars, be it the Separatists for Morgan and the Republic and Jedi for Barriss. And then it shows kind of how their distrust and hatred was weaponized by the dark side and how they went in 2 different directions. One giving into the hate and acquiescing entirely, and the other finding a way out. So very curious to see what everybody thinks about this one, and we'll go around the room. I'm gonna just start with Michael this time. Start with Michael. You can talk about. Let's do Morgan first, to the extent that they intertwine thematically. We can of course reference it, but let's do Morgan's arc first, and then we'll do Barriss.
If Michael doesn't want to go first, I have words.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michael. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna take this one because Go ahead, Andy.
I thought that the Morgan episodes were so forgettable. I've been waiting to drop that.
Damn. I'm glad you didn't say Barriss, because I might have had to like go to where you live and punch you in the face like with love.
No. I'm in the camp of like, I don't know who asked for all this Morgan Elsbeth content, because like she was cool at the end of Ahsoka and I was like, that's nice. I really didn't need more. I certainly didn't need as much as we got. And Tales of the Jedi was like something special for me. It's something like, there are episodes that I still think about now. This arc was so forgettable. I will never think about it again. I was so bored. I love Dathomir. I loved the opening shot.
But we learned there's other people on Dathomir that aren't.
You would know if you'd read
Night
the book.
Sisters, and now we know there are like other human Night Sisters.
They're not Night Sisters.
Okay.
I hate the way that you walk. I hate the way that you talk. I hate the way that
I was tired. I was waiting for it.
That's sort of sickles. Come on.
That's shocking. Sincerely, that's like the most curated to Andy content that I thought could be out there. Like Night Sister. I mean, Ventress did not show up, so fair enough. But yeah, wow. Okay.
But was it on par with Tales of the Empire?
Yeah, I don't know if it was on par with Tales of the Jedi. I think if you're ranking them all, I would say this is the I think you can make a good argument this is the weakest of the 4 arcs. I think you could put Ahsoka's as a weaker one as well, since it went over so much ground that we've already covered, I would say, in either books or Clone Wars, or it was some neat moments that we got to see
at the end, dude.
But baby Ahsoka,
you're right.
There's just so much fire. I mean, the Qui-Gon Dooku stuff like was so fascinating to me, and then this Morgan stuff, I was like, when's it gonna start? Like, when's the good stuff gonna start? And I will argue that some of the almost all of the best moments of this season we already saw in a trailer, and I hate that. I hate when that happens. I want to see some new stuff, and the Morgan arc didn't do it for me.
Can I go next?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, pop off.
Because here's the thing. I don't actually 100% disagree with Andy. I
I'm watching this and I think Taylor's getting fed. I'm like, I think Taylor's freaking munching on this one.
And I know why you're thinking that, and you're not wrong. But I didn't care about her. I didn't care about Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
And from the trailer, I was really hoping we were getting like a Grievous arc or something like that, where we dive into his history, and I was going to be more interested in that. So when it was Morgan Elsbeth, I was kind of like, eh. Obviously, as you were referencing, Ed, I did love some of the Legends references they kind of threw in there. The fact that there was another clan of witches on Dathomir, I feel like goes back to the courtship of Princess Leia, when you have the Night Sisters, who are essentially the dark Force users on the planet, and then you have the I can't even remember right now if they have a name. It's been a while since I read the book, but then you essentially have the witches that are essentially the Jedi version of the people on Dathomir, right? They're using the light side, if you will. So I thought it was kind of neat for them to introduce that. And then obviously near the end, when you had Pelion and Thrawn and Rook all pop up, I thought it was interesting to see Pelion pop up because
Michael, you're on one right now.
I thought it was interesting to see Pelion pop up because he always struck me as the sort who like stayed on the Star Destroyer, if you will. Not that he didn't get a little more involved in some of Thrawn's plans, but in Legends, he was sort of like a step behind. Thrawn was explaining the plans, and he was just sort of, he wasn't as involved, especially when it came to ground stuff.
Help me out.
That's crazy of you.
Do you, snark notwithstanding, what was the character, who was the character from The Hand of Thrawn? This isn't a pop quiz. If you don't remember, it's no problem. I can't remember either. But there was an Imperial in The Hand of Thrawn duology that, remember, at the end of it all, it culminates, and there's this old man who's like, he worked with Thrawn, and he was in the Empire of the Hand and all of that, and he had been kind of like running things. I can't remember the guy's name, but you're right that I feel like a character like that, which again, sorry, not the best broadcasting moment for old Eddie G right now, but like a character like that, it does fit an archetype like that more than it does Pelion that we're familiar with. So yeah, that's fair. I was more thinking like, okay, so Taylor's getting Pelion, she's getting TIE Defender origin, she's getting Rook, she's getting the Rook.
I am a Rook hater. I hate that ugly guy. Stop putting him on my television.
I was so confused what the point of that was. Why
did
he have, what was the test you're fighting to test to see if she's better at combat than your assassin, because that means she designs good starfighters? I was like, what is
it
that tells me what your
follow.
motivation is, that you didn't want to die.
I know you're good at starfighter design. What I don't know is if you're good at fighting design, and that is why.
I was joking why he just refused to
have
look
a
at her that whole
coworker,
scene.
You must know them.
They were like, let's make him ultra pensive and never look at her, and then somebody made the joke like, well, maybe if she was holding up a painting, he would have looked instead.
I will say Thrawn's appearance in this looked really, really cool. How they kind of blended the, like Clone Wars style and everything.
Awesome.
I was digging it.
I feel like
interesting. The hate. I don't disagree. This wasn't the one that I was excited to talk about either. I liked it. I liked it in that it showed opposition to Barriss's arc. So that we'll get to all of that. But this was entertaining to me. But not overwhelmingly positive or negative. But I'm very intrigued by Andy's just like off the top rope. This sucks. That was awesome. Michael, what do you think?
I'm going to take probably the most neutral stance. I felt similarly to this that I did for a lot of Bad Batch and other content recently, where I'm like, I watched it. It was good. But it wasn't like, wow, this is awesome, I can't wait to stop watching or whatever. It was just like, okay, that happened, it's cool.
Andy could not wait to stop watching.
The most upsetting thing about this is that they did the thing that Star Wars does, and honestly, it's consistent, so I guess I can't be too mad about it because it's sort of the Star Wars thing now, where once they establish something, they can't like go back and change. Like, it's like Obi-Wan. What he wore on Tatooine is now the Jedi outfit. Like, that's what everybody wears. It's Vader has the same outfit for 20 years, and so when he comes off the assembly line, he looks exactly like he looks in Episode 4. It's all sorts of stuff like that. The book that we were just talking about, the book about the Shadows of the Sith, dumps Lando on that planet we find him on in Rise of Skywalker for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I felt like they did the same thing in this case, where we had Morgan, we had this cool backstory, and then, gosh, it's like 16 years BBY based on the things that are going on. It's not really clear, but it's like way in advance. She's basically magistrate of this random backwater planet for like close to 20 years. So, and they just like leave her there. And it's so strange to me because we had this backstory from her that she was like, She had holdings on Corellia. She was this manufacturer. She was like in charge of all this stuff. She had this, she has fighting background. I kind of liked where they were going with her sort of briefing and trying to sell the Empire ships and stuff. And then they just like dump her on this random planet we find her on in The Mandalorian. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess she just stayed there forever. It's weird for it's just weird for her character
one doesn't
with all the
lead to
ambition she
two
has.
necessarily.
It's just weird. They couldn't come up with a new plan or a different thing for her to be doing. That that last episode didn't have to change for her to not be there for 20 years. It just, I don't know why that had to be. I didn't even have that impression from Mandalorian that she had been there that long. It seemed like it was a rather rapid decline after she took over, not like the same random guy has been complaining about the conditions of this thing for basically 20 years.
Star Wars is afflicted with this disease of, on one hand, stuff never changes off screen, or when it does, the fandom loses their mind. So it's like, we better keep it the same, right? So it's like, it's half and half. I agree that on its surface, it looks as though she just stayed there forever, and that is disappointing is too mild a word, right?
She's got the same
100%. It's thoroughly static. Now, the only thing I would say is it is Thrawn-like to use, keep things under wraps and use, appearances. So having it be looking nondescript, and they already said that hasn't been seen in years, so she could probably come and go as she pleased from her little ivory tower there. Maybe she's doing witchy things, I don't know, they're making sage, I don't know, like who knows what she's rocking up in there. But
do you mean growing sage?
She's making it with Night Sister magic. I said what I said. Run it back.
Right.
I don't just double down. I tripled down. Anyway. So yeah, no, you're right, Michael. I mean, it's a frustration that I certainly have with Star Wars as well, where everything has to be. The Wizard of Oz humor is coming in thick tonight. Yeah, everything has to be exactly the same, or it's or if it does change, then it's like rah. But so
I was really hoping. What's the other guy from the Thrawn books, the more recent Thrawn books? The young guy, Eli Vanto.
That would have been
when are they going to bring Eli Vanto back? Come on,
they should have brought him back now.
He would have been
You're right, Taylor.
That thing than
100%. 100%.
Would have
Eli
made more
Vanto
sense than
been
Pelion.
Perfect.
Those are some of the
great too.
Canon books I did read, and Vanto would have been a better fit for that role.
I started
Listen, man, could you have imagined if just randomly, like, I get why they didn't, because a lot of the fans that didn't read those books were like, who the hell is this vaguely redneck Imperial who's like
this like kind of youngish redneck?
Now that you can't look fast, I gotta ask you a question. I'm glad you're here working for the Empire. Now, let's get them chainsaws and we're going to do some cool work out here on Corvus, all right? All right. That's that's my trade language coming through there. All right,
serious question, though.
I'll do this all night.
How does Morgan not know that Grievous was being controlled by the Emperor? How does she not know anything?
Yeah.
How does she not know that her planet was basically wiped out by the Empire?
How would she know that?
How
would she know that at all?
I just feel like somebody who's clearly as smart as she is and is involved in things as she is would probably realize that the whole the whole CIS versus Republic thing was just all fake.
Well, especially when she, like, her whole stated reason for all of a sudden helping the Empire is revenge. It seems like once she'd gotten off planet, she would have dedicated herself to starting, like, just trying to untangle everything that happened. And I feel like that would have been the main point of her search.
Who is she getting revenge against? Because she's fighting the Jedi, and the Jedi were fighting the people that killed her people. Like, I don't understand what her motivation is. We didn't really have that before Ahsoka. We didn't know or really care because we didn't know she was a Night Sister. We were just like, oh, she's a friend of Thrawn. Cool. She's an ex-Imperial. Cool. I feel
Ventress could, like, rock up and be like, yo, girl.
But
well,
they've painted her into this
like
corner.
if she's friends with Ventress, then you're 100% right, because there's no way that she wouldn't know, right? 100%. But if you're talking again, just like general galactic citizen, like I get that we all know that because we've seen the inner circles of power of all of this stuff. But like there's a
Night
litany
Sisters
of
themselves
ways.
know this though.
Dude, I don't know that
That's
they
kind of
do.
why they were wiped out. I don't know.
Didn't they? There's not like a. I don't think that they realized the Darth Sidious Palpatine connection, right? Is that? Am I missing something?
But regardless, if
it
they don't, who is she trying to get revenge against? To Taylor's point.
Well, yeah, the hate consumed her. That's the point of the duology of episodes, is like the dark path will lead you to, suffering and sort of aimless. I mean, Anakin, the whole reason he went to the dark side was to save his wife, and then his wife died, and what did he do for the rest of his life? It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
And
is this all just Thrawn going, great, you've explained to me how shallow and like pointless you are, so like great, I can use you. Because then he gets this like, long live the Empire thing, but like he's not, again, if we actually care about the books, he's not really in the Empire's corner necessarily. It's sort of a means to an end. Like he's not an Imperial sycophant. He's in it for his own people and his own purposes. And I felt like he kind of saw that with her, but I'm like, your people are gone and the people who killed them are gone. And so I don't really know what your motivation is.
Well, and also just to address my earlier point, I think I'm almost arguing that she wasn't consumed by revenge, because it seems like she was only, once Thrawn came up and was like, okay, why do you want to do this? She's like, well, revenge, obviously. But until that, her actions don't seem to mesh. Like, obviously, we didn't see all of them, but her actions just don't strike me as someone who's like really pursuing revenge.
Yeah, well, at least not in any targeted way. I think it's just she's just out to. She tried the I'm going to be in power angle, but then when she's always looking for a reason to feel aggrievement, and so she's like, they turned on me. How could they? I gave them this lovely, secret police organization. Like, how could they hate me so much? And so then she victimizes
Maybe it's
herself.
The HK droids. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Andy, did you have something?
I had to look this up to make sure I was remembering it right. But the invasion of Dathomir was because of beef between Mother Talzin and Dooku.
Right.
Yeah. And the assassination.
So that's sub the inner sanctum, level. And that's what I'm kind of getting at, is like, yeah, the Empire will give them reasons to be hated later with like Marin and all that sort of stuff. But like, I feel like the whole idea that Darth Sidious handled Darth Sidious was the mastermind is not common knowledge in the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's kind of where.
So maybe the problem is she really isn't anything more than like an A-list henchman. But the problem is, by giving her this 3-episode arc, they're really treating her like she's a lot more important to the actual grand scheme of things than she was. They're giving her so much screen time and attention, which is all the way back to Andy's point, which is,
I was bored.
who needed this and wanted this?
Yeah. I mean, I think Lucasfilm would make the argument. Lucasfilm would make the argument that they were hoping Andy would need it, which is proof that they failed spectacularly. Like, I feel like this was like, oh, they love Ventress. They love the Night Sisters. Let's whip them up a batch, man. They're gonna love the man. That camera was zoomed in too much. I had another hand underneath it. I wasn't just being gross. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it was underwhelming for sure. I will freely admit that.
It's interesting too, because I could see it if they were trying to get people hyped for like second season of Ahsoka or something like that. But also, she's dead.
Yeah,
so...
she did.
Yeah.
We now have her full life story.
Okay. Star Wars does this, though. Star Wars has been doing this since day one. They introduce a character, they kill that character, and then like, here's all the reasons why you should give a shit about that, okay?
But
I'm going to feel bad about this later.
They didn't sell me. They didn't sell me on it.
Kit
They tried.
Fisto? Yeah. You like that guy? Guess what? He thought he was fine. He thought he was kind of cool because he looked cool. But guess what? He's got a Jamaican accent, okay? He's really cool. And now he dies. Feel bad, punk. Yeah, that's me. I'm feeling bad. Yeah, 100%. They did it with Dooku as well. Dooku definitely has gotten exponentially cooler. And then you just watch him and it's like, they do this pretty much all of them. But
I know. Yeah.
Sidious. I mean, Sidious is like the king of retroactive embellishment. Like Sidious is like the coolest, most evil, diabolical character, and his one-armed henchman yeets him off the railing. Like it's nuts. Like it's crazy. Yeah. So okay. All right. Let's move on. Barriss is the second half. I want to get everybody's take on this. I have a lot to say. I really enjoyed it, but that is of course not any I'm not using that to cajole anyone else into agreeing with me, obviously. So we'll go around the room. Andy started off with hot takes and heavy swings. You got things to say about this one, or you want to kick it to Michael first?
I'll go.
Go for it.
It's hard. I think all of the episodes were strong. If I personally hadn't already seen so much cool stuff from this arc in the trailer already. I kept waiting to see something new and exciting still. So you can tell at this point in my experience, I'm kind of frustrated with Tales of the Empire right now because I keep waiting for it to kick up. And I don't feel like for me, it really did until the very last episode. It was cool to see clones again. That there were moments that were cool, but it was super overwhelming all in all. I'm so glad that we got to see more of Barriss. I've been wanting to see more of Barriss. And I really, really enjoyed that ending. I really enjoyed that last episode. But I was just...
So I saw a meme. I can't remember. I would love to credit it, but I can't remember who posted it. But somebody said only Dave Filoni would answer the question of what happened with Barriss to what happened with Barriss. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty fair. But yeah, okay, yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. Everything I loved about it was thematic. So like as far as like great action scenes and stuff, I think 100% agree. Like they really showed everything in the trailer, and a lot of the criticisms I've seen that I would count as that I agree with more do deal with bad marketing. Like they leaned heavy on Darth Vader, and they showed the scene of Darth Vader. And that was it. So
he sat in a chair.
Womp womp.
Yeah, big old womp womp.
Yeah,
Lauren, give us a womp womp.
Womp womp.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. Where's the womp womp? Okay, I'll kick it over to you now, Taylor. What'd you think of this arc?
So I definitely preferred this arc. I agree that there were some things I was looking forward to based on what it seemed like the trailer was setting up, which a Darth Vader and a Barriss kind of face off was one of them, not necessarily in fighting, but just his reaction to Barriss based on what happened with Ahsoka in Clone Wars. I was really kind of curious to see how that would play off. I almost suspected, even though I had a feeling the lady that was kicked off the mountain wasn't dead, I really thought that they might be bringing Vader at the end to find Barriss on that planet, and I thought we might see something there, but then we didn't.
100%. I thought they were just going to imply that she was brutally massacred. And Vader was
no, I was like, oh, she's dead.
Bye,
she sent the other people off. It's fine.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. Like the storyline, I cared more about her character. I know Ed, at some point you mentioned you could go either way on the redemption arc. I think I would argue it wasn't even really a redemption arc. I think she was a kid who was in over her head and saw something and acted out and then realized when Order 66 happened, oh, wait, this is not quite what I thought I wanted or how I thought this would turn out. And then was like, I'm in over my head and this isn't right. Let me go back to
I said that before we had seen it, right? That's just to clarify.
I thought you said that today when we started the show.
I don't think so. Maybe if I did, I'm schizo.
I just thought you said like you could have gone either way. You weren't sure about the redemption
Oh
arc.
no, the redemption. This is why I'm in it. Like I
Okay.
love. I'll
Well,
get
then
there.
never mind.
But no.
Um,
Curious to keep hearing your thought, Michael. The
Yeah.
reason why I think that the duology of it, right? Like splitting it, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, and then this one was like the other path out. So that's probably why they didn't.
No, because the problem is they had the path of fear, they had the path of anger, they had the path of hate, and then they just went to a completely different thing.
I know the titles.
We saw suffering in Mandalorian.
Where's the path of suffering? Where is it?
There's more to the code, guys. Yeah, I know. But
should have made 4 episodes. Damn it.
Maybe they realized they're like,
or
no,
0.
We're not gonna like this. We should probably just quit while we're ahead.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. It made sense to me. Like you guys sort of just referenced at the end, I think we all were left with some questions. Well, some things are answered, but now I've got more. But overall, I definitely preferred it more than the first one.
Fair enough. Michael, your turn.
Yeah, I agree. I liked it more than the first one for sure. I still had some problems with some things like, we're giving them the exact same outfits that we see them in and they never change their outfits. Okay, we're giving them the double-bladed spinny lightsabers from day one before the castle is even built. Okay, great.
I just imagine Sheev had like this whole graphic design pack. He's like, he's ready. It's like, all right, Order 66. Oh yeah, hell yeah, let's go. Rock it out. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I actually thought we were going to see more of like pre-Inquisitorious kind of like still very Jedi-ish kind of thing, but instead it was just it was interesting to see like Kickstarter Inquisitor. Like they didn't quite have their thing together yet, so Barriss
it was cool seeing the Inquisitorious getting built. That was cool.
Yeah, but she's still like, I don't know, from what we saw in Red Blade, for example, there's just a lot more control over the people. There's a lot more industry. There's more droids and things going on that sort of brainwash the people through there. And instead you just kind of have Barriss. Barriss gets tested. She goes out on her first mission and she goes, nah, and she leaves. And I was like, oh, well, that was easy. I guess, they didn't really bother at this point. So again, I'm doing kind of the thing where I'm like, well, on one case, they left everything the same, and the others, clearly they're showing that they got better about brainwashing the Padawans and the former apprentices and really, really getting their commitment to the cause because it's different. What was with those 2 weird aliens that we've, like the first time we ever saw those species that were Barriss's friends? That was weird.
They were in
I forgot this movie as much as possible as well, but they were species that we saw in Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. They were in the Battlefront games too.
I did really like that fight around the pit, although again, to Andy's point, they showed it in the trailer. We also all knew it was going to happen because we also already saw in the trailer Barriss was going to kneel as an Inquisitor, so we already knew there was really no risk there. There's a lot of stuff we already knew was going to happen. I don't know. I didn't hate any of it really. It was better than the other one, but I agree. The Tales of the Jedi was just more exciting. My biggest question, obviously, as Taylor pointed out, is like, what is the deal with her being really old at the end of this episode? Because clearly this can't be that far after episode 4 maximums, probably before episode 4. But it can't be that far after episode 4 because the Inquisitorious is still around.
Brother, I sent you the video.
I know. I don't buy it. We talked about this. So if she's force healing, her whole thing, she's just force healing, and that's like sucking the life out of her, making her age. That's fine, but we've never. It just killed Kylo Ren when he did it. We never saw Rey lose any age, get older when she healed the snake thing, or when she healed back and forth.
That was just a little
all we saw was Grogu passing out
on a big snake thing
with aging.
And
yeah,
Grogu was.
I'm just saying, like, they haven't established it, and they didn't say it. They should have just shown it happening, and it would have been easy. Like, why didn't they show her healing at any point? They just called her the healer, the wise mother, or something.
This is what. Okay, I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm gonna stop. So I gotta say something here. All right, I love you. This is not directed at you generally, but as Star Wars fans, you watch those original trilogy movies. They were just saying stuff. They just did stuff. None of it made any sense. None of it had any continuity. They were just like, pew, 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 Force Ghost. Do they hear? Do they not? None of it made any sense. It was just off the wall, random shit. And now we're at a point where they thematically age the character. There's a litany of things that could have made sense for why, but if we don't see it on screen with a subtitle underneath, she is aging because of Force involvement, and she's growing, and she is aging because of this, and it's 14 hit points, we will lose our mind. Again, Michael, I'm not coming at you in this moment, but it's just like overall, as a fandom, I'm like, why are we here? Why are we doing this, like this level of granularity with it? Like, of course,
but they do.
We need this stuff to make sense.
They give us detail, which we are passionate about and we find interesting, right? We find it really interesting. So we track things like, oh yeah, it's really important. We know you told us that Leia remembers her mom. And now we're confused when you don't follow that rule. That one thing you told us, you didn't tell us much, but she told us, wow, Leia remembers her mom. And now we're like, wait a minute, how is that happening? So we know Mary Ollins, she's a Mary Ollin. They said it. And we know Mary Ollins live a couple 100+ years. And now she's old in the matter of a couple years. And we're like, hey, what's going on? You going to explain this or not? And they don't. So, of course, we have questions.
Yeah, sorry. Taylor raised her hand very respectfully, so it would be remiss of me to not acknowledge that.
My only addition to this discussion is that I feel like they have trained us now, because we didn't get a lot of explanation about a lot of stuff, but they have gone back and tried to fill in all these different holes and explain why all these different things happen. So when they start doing that, they train us to look for the explanations. And if something doesn't make sense at that point, we're going to call it out.
They go back and make sense of it. I don't think we want a world where Michael gets every question he's ever asked about the nuts and bolts of how these things work. Like,
I agree.
'cause again, we got to remember why we loved Andor, right? It wasn't like, what happened on Fest? It was because it was the third day of the Clone Wars and they shot down. This is an organization of undercover CIS Republic troops that went, like I
would argue Andor logically followed, though.
I'm with you that Andor was amazing. Andy wants to speak. Please. Sorry. Go ahead, Andy.
I put a picture in the chat because I'm sorry, like she doesn't look that old to me.
She looks aged. Thought that too. She doesn't like, there's no gray hair, guys.
Old. She has a pixie cut, which ages women, right? When we see them with shorter hair, and she has smile lines because she's happy now because she's not miserable anymore, and a wrinkle between her brow because she's worried sometimes. Like, come on, man. Also, it's a short. They are like 12 minutes long. They don't have to show everything.
I want to reiterate, I'm not coming at you, brother. Just like this is something that happens a lot in the zeitgeist of this stuff. Where again, I will freely admit to you that it's tough because there is a balance point that I'm glad your type exists, Michael. We need you. And, it helps ground things. It helps make sense of things. We want them to be challenged to make this stuff make sense. I love that the canon makes sense. I've talked about how the day they introduce a multiverse is the day that this show tapers off, right? So 100%. But I'm just like, man, like when we get content that just works and feel, again, maybe that's not an opinion shared by everyone. I'm not. Yeah.
Don't trigger me.
No, that's the one that there is a line, and let the record state hyperspace skipping crossed it for me. You're exactly right. So I'm acknowledging that there is a balance here. But I saw that too. We're gonna address Mr. Michael. There's way too many Michaels in this this very small show. but yeah, it's I think there's a balance point, and I would say that for me it's a scale of granularity and consistency versus impact on the story. And sometimes it skews one way, sometimes it skews the other way. And in this one, I was just like, the themes, I haven't even talked about why I love this yet, but like the themes of it hit so hard and just like worked so well for me. And I thought it was like what we talk about as redemptions and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, it was just it was really, really killing me.
They never had to explain anything. They never did. You're right. In the first 3 movies, they threw random stuff out. They're like, the Clone Wars. They didn't have to explain what that was. You left it to your imagination. It's really cool. But when they start really pretending like they're going to get like midichlorians, right? Like they're diving in and they're going to like, oh, we're going to explain this now. And then they aren't consistent with how it is. And when they're not consistent is when they need the explanation. It's not that we needed an explanation in the first place. It's when you start diverting from what you've already told us. That's where, as the viewers, you're like, wait a minute, we feel betrayed. We feel like we're lost because we thought we understood what you told us and now it's different. So is it because you're intentionally being confusing and you're trying to show, oh, this is from a certain point of view, right? Or is it because you're being inconsistent, which we've actually seen. We've seen oftentimes where they walk all over their thing. So this is my question about Barriss, however old she is this because somebody forgot that the Miriellans don't age the same way? Or is this because there's force healing? And if either way, why not in the 12 minutes that we had show her heal somebody? It would have taken 2 seconds. Just show it. Why bother leaving us with this question when you're gonna show her aged in the first place? They didn't have to do that. It's the whole point of showing her aged was to communicate something, but they're not being clear on what they're communicating. They're not just throwing it out there either. They're not just making stuff up and showing cool stuff, because they do that, and that's fine. But when they're actually going to explain something, it's when we pay attention.
To your point about consistency, just throws me like so much, because again, I want to ground this conversation in balance points, right? This is what I was talking about. We're hyperspace skipping, something that is the lion's share of what we've talked about in Star Wars from the word go. Every time the lights go voom voom, like we see it and we know kind of how it works, right? It's all the time. And then they just freewheel and say they skip now. I will freely admit that is a lot more jarring than a girl looks slightly older for 30 seconds. Like, that's what's kind of, it's like, why are we doing this? Why do we need this level of granularity? And again, I will freely admit that I popped off in your direction probably way more than you deserved. But what I'm saying is, as a fandom, it's like, relate it to the power of the story. And is this the thing we need to hang the hat on? Like, again, I go back to Empire. We stan Empire, except Andy. We stan Empire as like one of our favorite movies and all this stuff. And that plot is bonkers if you look at it with anything more than, like, it doesn't make sense. The timeline does not line up. And it's just, but we ignore it because
I'm the most logical one here because I can't ignore it, obviously.
Yeah, you can't ignore
so
it.
Intellectual.
The plot holes make. All right, I think, like I said, to try to blend it, I know I might be overcorrecting on the I believe button side. I will grant that maybe I skew a little bit to one direction. I would argue you skew a little bit to the other direction. At the end of the day, we love. You can't be the internet comment section, bro. You can't be on the pod doing this stuff. I think at the end of the day, what binds it all together is that we do love this stuff and we love having these discussions, and it's all great. It's a lot of fun. So I want to get back around to what the chaos that Wyatt has been wreaking in the live chat here.
Hello, 5 viewers, by the way.
Yeah, welcome all. I see Brian too. What up, Brian? I'll get to your comment here in a second. But yeah, so this is why you're shouting at me. I'm shouting at you because you damn well deserve it. You came here. You know what you want. Get your popcorn. I'm going to yell at you. All right, fair enough. We love Andor. Yes, we do. And if you want to see me shout again, keep coming with that.
No.
I second that comment.
Andor is great. And you have a laughing emoji because I don't know what you were laughing at. It was 8 minutes ago, but fair enough. Okay. Stan Michael B. I'm thoroughly unsurprised. But hey, you know.
All stand Michael. We
all stand Michael
yes,
B.
we do.
We do. I will tell you, Wyatt does not care about any of this, and he is rooting for chaos. So I won't take all of that criticism too much to heart. Brian says, and Wyatt, what's up? It's great to see you, man. Great. Thanks for stopping by. We do this every week. If you're interested in Star Wars, come hang out. Great panel. You're welcome on anytime.
Yeah.
Wyatt says, how am I? I'm doing all right, man. Things are good. Ask me how things are at home. They're great as well. I'm telling you, man. It's just like I said, I haven't even talked about this episode yet and why I like it so much. But yeah, it's super fun. Yeah, why am I yelling? Because I care. And we do this a lot. We get into the weeds and we talk. We have a lot of fun. You know, I gotta say, I really enjoy where we're at now. Being able to have these conversations and having a bit of a live audience here. This is what we were trying to do. This is the goal, and it's coming alive. So we're having a lot of fun here.
We should yell more.
Woo! Hey, watch me get triggered.
Sorry,
every
one of those
episode.
is me. Here we go. Watch. Bye. It's because we're all on YouTube reading.
I'm
not
on here too.
Right now.
I'm not. Okay.
Hey, we got a third person in the chat.
Hey,
Gotta go fast.
Stop spilling trade secrets. Gotta go fast. It's great to see you. Great to see you as well. These stage names, it's hard to know who these people are, but it's great to see you. Welcome. Like I said, we do this every week. Wyatt. Andor is 2 out of 10. Bro's just popping off. Bro's just in here rooting for chaos. He's trying to get another TikTok out of me, and it ain't gonna happen.
Don't be mad because he's speaking truth.
Lolo.
Yeah.
Should we take bets
we
on
need
whether or not Wyatt will A, watch the Acolyte, and B, like the Acolyte?
Oh, I would bet a lot of money that if 1 happens, then 2 won't. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the state of Star Wars fandom, is there's a huge chunk of the fandom that just loves to not be part of the fandom. It's like their whole identity is that they're not having fun. And I wonder why. I reached that point with Marvel and Jurassic Park, and I just said, hey, pop off. Hope you guys have fun. I'll stick with my VHS. It's great. Iron Man, they'll never be able to take Iron Man from me, or Avengers, or Captain America: Civil War. It's great. There's some good stuff. Winter Soldier, right? But yeah, I just let it go. Maybe y'all should let it go. Enjoy episode 3 and, move on. Okay, let's keep I love that we have chats to catch up on. That's a fun phenomenon that I'm going to relish. Gotta go fast says hi. You're too young for the MTV mug. No, I'm not. Anytime I can work animal print into my life, I will do it. Thank you. Encourage everyone to watch the Clone Wars. Hey, we're getting to a point where I don't know if I can keep up with chat, but yeah, this is fun. It's fun. We got Gotta Go Fast says it really is a 2. Hey man, I don't know you. I hope you find what it is that you're looking for in this life, because if it's not Andor, I don't know how to help you find it. Acolyte is trash. I don't know how you got an advanced copy, but tell your friends at
a certain point, you're gonna
Lucasfilm
have to
that I would
stop
love to
reading the
talk with them.
Yeah.
I know. I'm also convinced they're having conversations with themselves.
I'm just glad we get to do this. I was gonna do it for a little while. I already set up that I was gonna leave it alone, but this is exciting.
Hey.
Wyatt says he'll watch Acolyte. That we'll have to have you on the show.
Will he watch the whole thing? Because I don't think he watched all of Andor.
He skims shows. So Wyatt has the audacity to skim shows and then say, "Yeah, it was dumb. I didn't like it."
That's not how that
What
works.
you mean is he has the audacity
You watch it on
to
fast forward.
skim
I didn't get any
bad
of the dialogue.
shows.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. I'm gonna remove the chat. Let it pile up, and then we'll get back to that. Okay. Oh, sorry. You gonna say something?
Why do you like this
No?
show? This show, Ed? Tell us.
This episode, man, or not this episode, but this arc. Everything everyone said about the Morgan Elsbeth stuff, I think it makes perfect sense. I didn't resonate with those as much. Again, I only appreciate it as it shows the mirror image of what happened in the Barriss Offee arc. Getting to see, this was what I've always wanted out of redemption in Star Wars. Like, so often characters are redeemed, and it's the point of, the original Star Wars and all this. They reach a point where they let go of the hate and they realize what they've done is wrong, and then they always die. They never have to reckon with what they did. They have that moment on their deathbed or at the end, and they're just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have killed all those children. Damn. Let me go out in a blaze of glory, right? And that's cool. I'm not saying Darth Vader should have stayed evil and Kylo should have stayed evil and all that stuff. No, but I love redemption in any form it takes. But so often we're left wondering, like, well, what do you do when you've done terrible things, right? And like, how do you come back from that? And you deal with at what point is it too far, right? Like, how much before this brings back in Lost Stars, right? Like we read with Sienna, and how, like, at what point is she too far gone? She knows there's things that are wrong, but she can't stop herself. She can't stop the train. It's off the rails. It is what it is. Man, I tell you, I loved so much that this character, who had a litany of issues with the Jedi, a litany of issues that made a lot of sense. There was meat on that bone of why the Jedi were messed up, why the Republic was corrupt, and how the Jedi had lost their way so much. She acted out in a way that was evil, unspeakable. Like, if you want to resist the Jedi, there's a lot of ways you can do that. Bombing the hangar is not the way to go. That's not how you manifest that. And then so she gets sent to prison, and tries to frame Ahsoka, who is could have been her friend, could have been her ally, right? Like, misguided attempts to fix these sort of things. And then so you move ahead to the Inquisitorius. She's starting to go through yes she starts to go through a lot of this stuff, and is getting consumed by the Empire. And you think that she's going down this path that we've seen so many times, like Iskat. We were reading that book, check out the Young Program Book Club, talking about the Inquisitor, the Red Blade. Like, so many times we were like, at what point could she have left, right? How much of this responsibility lies on Iskat versus her surroundings, right? And I remember that discussion being so much yes, all of her actions are her responsibility, and the circumstances that raised her contributed immensely and could have been fixed, right? And so what I really, really loved about this was, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what the context is, at a certain point, your actions are still your responsibility, and it is never too late to stand up, make a difference, and choose the right path. And then at that point, yeah, you're going to have guilt. Yeah, you're going to have shame for some of the things that you've done. But at that point, you then have to just do as much good as you can. Try to offset. Try to live your life, the remainder of it, as best you can. And God, I loved it so much, because
I disagree, Michael B. I disagree.
Yeah, no, she looked too old. It's bullshit. We should have just cut it off. No, I think it was beautiful, because you map it onto real life as well, right? There's so many things that we grow up in a certain way. We are surrounded by the context in which we live. We grow up in all of these sort of things that we assume this is the way it's supposed to be. Good guys equal X, bad guys equal Y. And then as time goes on, there are moments that can knock you out of that and can recalibrate you and wake you up. And kudos to the people that have the stones to seize those moments and change. And it is never too late for those people, because you would think that Barriss would have had that and it would have passed long before. But when, you know, she saw the Inquisitor kill those kids, you know, and all that sort of stuff, she's like, I don't know about the Jedi. I don't like any of this stuff. There's a lot of issues with the Jedi, but if this is the alternative, I don't want anything to do with that. And so I tell you, man, I loved it. I loved every bit of it. And, you know, I might be reading into it too much, but I tell you, these things have that potential. That's why Star Wars is so deep, is that it lets you map it in different ways. And there's all kinds of different ways to draw from it. And this was one of the more impactful pieces of content that I've consumed in the last few years, probably since Andor, ironically enough. So rant over. Tried to keep it out of real life as much as possible, but there's a lot more meat on that bone.
I liked it a lot, and I like how it relates to real life too, because this is a conversation that I bring up a lot with like my husband when we watch these fictional shows where the lead character can do abhorrent things, but it's in the past and they're a good guy now. And as an audience, we can get on board with that. But this idea of forgiveness and a complex human being in real life who has maybe done atrocious things and has changed, it's a lot harder to stomach, obviously, because it's real, it's not fictional. But like there's a conversation there that I'm always bringing up and trying to have.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it's like there's all kinds of different ways where if you look at Darth Vader, I think there's a realistic argument that dude does not deserve to be a Force ghost, right? Like I don't know where I stand on that, but I think there's a solid ethical case that, you know, you gotta, is that fair? I don't know. There's a lot of people that died from that youngling Slayer 9000 that probably wouldn't be super hyped that he just, you know, threw his boss down the elevator and it's all honky-dory, right? So
and Leia and Luke would have different perspectives on that.
100%. Like. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, because Luke's like, hey, Dad, welcome back. Leia's like, Alder Ammo? Like, are we going to talk about that? All of my people on the Tantive 4 that you just, like, mowed through because you wanted the PDF files I stole? Like, what are we doing here? No, I think I loved it. Like I said, I know I got a little passionate there, but this is a Star Wars podcast, so, you know, we're all a little passionate about this stuff, and it's bound to come out every now and again. So thanks for letting me have a little fun there.
That's great.
Brian says Taylor weigh in at his rambling. Yeah, fair enough. I warned everybody that I was going to go on a rant. I had a little monologue there. Not mad about it. But go ahead. Give the people what they want. Taylor, weigh in.
Oh, gosh. Okay. I don't know how many thoughts I have on this one. I don't know. It's always interesting to see the different interpretations of a piece of entertainment. And I think that's what makes it a form of art, right? Is people can look at the same piece of art, whether that is physical art, whether that is entertainment, whether that is music, and can reach different conclusions. And I think that's something that adds its value to art.
Sure. Yeah. No, fair enough.
Sure.
I appreciate you coming up with that on the spot. I know I threw you to the wolves there a little bit.
I was like,
Gotta Go Fast says Eddie is acting like the Acolyte creator. I think I know what that means, but I'm not gonna assume the worst. So, but if it is the worst, yes, I do like the things that they do. And I do dislike the things that they also do. And if you're those things, I'm sorry to hear that. Like Barriss Offee, there is hope for you. Okay. Sweet and simple. Okay, Lauren says, lies, the rant is never over. Yes, I am always here to rant. Okie dokie. Let's leave it there. This was a lot of fun. I'll give everybody final thoughts. I forget now that this chat is public, so Taylor's about to die, so we gotta make sure we get out of here before her battery does. So final thoughts. for anybody that wants to say them. I'll go right to left. So Michael, if you want to go ahead and say any final thoughts about Tales of the Empire, my slip to insanity, or any and all of this.
I said what I had to say, or what I wanted to say. I'm not going to get into it. I obviously we have conversations about this kind of stuff all the time, and I fully support the idea that no one is above redemption. No one is below redemption. That it's awesome. 100%. It's great. I just think that was a little bit further in this than I was seeing. I don't think that she went nearly as far, even though you're right, the stuff she did in Clone Wars was bad, but I kind of am with Taylor. I'm like, she was a child and she was misguided and sort of manipulated by Palpatine and by things that were going on, and she was confused. And I think when she realized what the truth was, she immediately was like, oh yeah, no, I'm definitely, like, I'm a Jedi. I am this thing. So, but that's fine. Again, Taylor said it. We can have differing opinions and views of how this works, so it's great. Hello there,
General Grievous. we're honored that you have joined us.
Answer for your crimes.
Yeah. The only thing we didn't talk about, though, was that Lego Star Wars trailer for that new thing coming out. And
we didn't. It looks
Darth Jar Jar. It looks great. I'm super excited for Darth Jar Jar. I haven't watched a lot of the Lego Star Wars stuff, but I will definitely be checking that one out. Not in the least because it seems like we had that unreleased Duel of the Fates recording that they played in one of the trailers. Did you notice that, Ed? That they were playing Duel of the Fates for the Lego Star Wars thing, but it was different, and I really liked it.
It sounded like the Samuel Kim sort of like the epic one, right? Yeah, it sounded like
the one they did for the Rise of Skywalker trailers that they faked us out on. The one that was like recorded with the full Sith orchestra thing for Exegol that we never got. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe go back and
listen
if
to they drop it. They drop
so
it, that'd
excited.
be awesome.
I'll be mad it's in a Lego thing and not the full one, but either way, it looks great. Can't wait for that.
Thanks, Brian. You're awesome. We need to hang out again. Miss you, brother. Yeah, Wyatt's always dropping sick tunes. Wyatt Michael sings is the best thing. Taylor, your final thoughts before your phone dies.
I don't know, I'm kind of in the same spot as Michael. I feel like I've exhausted most of what I had to say about
fair enough.
This type of, about everything we've talked about. I'm just, I know we'll be back to talk about the Acolyte. Curious to see what comes from that. And
same.
At least, we are continuing to get fed with Star Wars content. We will debate whether we like it or not, but at least we have the opportunity to get some good. Even if it comes with some bad.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, right. It's so much fun, man. I love getting to do this. I think it's just so much fun, and the fact that a little inkling of just the chat being as active as it was tonight. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully a sign of things to come. This is great. I'm looking forward to more talks. Andy, any final thoughts you have to leave the people with?
Yeah, so Darth Jar Jar, was that like a game trailer or like a show trailer? It was a game.
It was Lego game, right?
No, unfortunately, it's a movie. It's a Lego mini series TV on like
it's
Disney
like
Plus.
It's Star Wars What If, guys, but it's just Legos.
Basically, yeah. Yep.
It's Star Wars What If, and it's great. It looks awesome, and it has
Lego
like Mark
movie,
Hamill.
Yeah, the Lego movie is amazing. It's a really good movie. So I don't know. I'm excited. Darth Jar Jar is
it'll be a lot of fun.
I don't think it's in the same vein as like the live action pseudo stop motion Lego movie. It's more like the previous, like the Lego Holiday Special, which if you haven't seen that, also really funny.
Yeah, it is.
Also quite good.
I say Gamorrean girls and Gamorrean guys all the time.
We'll have to dive into it when it comes out, because especially now that I'm getting initiated into the Lego world with these games, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap it up by saying this was a lot of fun. People want a bit more spice on this pod. It's been indicated that is something we want before. I hope y'all liked it. Maybe not. We'll see. But either way, I want to reiterate that just because I like something or I don't like something, we're all welcome to feel whatever way we feel about these things, and that's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of all this, is that everyone's interpretation is, well, hey, everyone's enjoyment is valid, right? Or everyone's feelings on this stuff is valid, and it's a beautiful thing. It's so much fun hanging out with you guys, and I can't wait to do it again next time. And hey, you'll find it here on program. Great hanging out with all you. This was a hoot and a half. We had some actual back and forth there. It was great. So while you're here, leave a like on the video, boost the algo, let some other randoms come in and see it. Maybe, share it if you feel like it. The Discord, though, the Discord is where you got to get. The Discord, that's where it goes down. All throughout the week, we're sharing memes, we're goofing, we're laughing, we're having fun. That's where you want to be. That is where you want to be. But hey, we'll see you next time on program.
On program.